Yeah, someone's supposed to get my attention. Yeah, Lady Gaga Mayhem. Hello one, hello all. It's the most uneven mustache of them all, Casper in the flesh, and it's time for a review of Lady Gaga Mayhem. This is a brand new album from singer, songwriter, multi-instrumentalist, producer Lady Gaga, and this is her 7th LP, her 7th studio LP. I'm not exactly going to count the OSTs, which she's done quite a handful of, but I've never exactly dove deep into. I mainly am more focused on what she's doing studio-wise, solo-wise. However, I did enjoy the remix album she put out of Chromatica, which I thought was very experimental, very out there, very left field, and honestly really fit her, and I think did tracks on there that I didn't even really care for on the last Chromatica album, the regular one, Justice. And not to take anything away from Chromatica, in fact, I thought that was her most adventurous album in a while, probably in a long time, because it's no secret she's been very much into the electronic music field for a while. It was just a matter of how she would execute it, and she even dabbled in art pop as well on her album Art Pop, that yes, I wasn't in love with, but I definitely felt the eccentricity, I felt the flavor, and honestly, I feel like I'm kind of going a little bit all over the place here, but for me, I feel her masterpiece is Fame Monster. I think that's a fantastic album. I think that's her best one. And honestly, unfortunately, I think she's yet to top that. However, I do think she's had decent projects along the way. But the problem with Lady Gaga is the production could either go into a very bland territory or have a streak of, I should say, cramp in the pin hand. Yeah, I know, I'm going all over the place with this, but it's like Lady Gaga could sometimes knock it out the park lyrically, but sometimes she falls a little flat for me. And singles-wise, I feel she can be very hit or miss, but I think when it comes to quality, Lady Gaga has definitely been more consistent on this record. In fact, I think it's her more consistent record in a while. And while I wasn't crazy about every single that was introduced to this album, I wasn't really too crazy about like Die With A Smile. I actually thought that was one of her weakest singles yet. But doing a deep dive into this, she is showing a lot of inspiration. In fact, she's showing a lot of inspiration from legendary Nine Inch Nails Trent Reznor, which honestly made me more excited for more eccentricity, more with keeping it weird, but not like, you know, Frank Zappa weird or Mr. Bungle weird. No, I wouldn't say that. I've yet to hear that. Like, it's not something that would rival Alice Longu Gao or anything like that. No, but this time she's bringing us into a very nocturnal, futuristic landscape here. Definitely something very dystopian. And I will say, I do think that in the past, when it comes to Lady Gaga's looks, her presentation, visually, I've yet to really hear anything that matches her visual, bizarre presentation, to be honest with you. However, I think on this one, I think I'm getting more consistency in something that matches her look here, and I'm satisfied with it. Because I gotta say, her melodies as of late have been catching me. And the hooks bang here, the production is stellar here. And honestly, I think it has more bangers than Chromatica. But, I mean, when it comes to the production, when it comes to the songwriting, it is stellar at some points, but overall, I think it could be kind of a mixed bag. Like, I think she could go from something clever like, I'm made of plastic, like a human doll. You push and pull me, I don't hurt at all. Or, so rip my face off in this photograph, you make me money, I make you laugh. She can go from that, from something totally basic and vapid, like, cause even though the church burned down, I'll be your queen without a crown. I've been so lonely in this field, fighting a battle with no shield. Yeah, it's pretty on the nose. And Die With A Smile, it's like, it is a cute concept of saying if the world was to just be in disarray, be the apocalypse, be Judgment Day, I just want to be next to you so I could die with a smile. And it is a cute reference, but God, like, The production is very flavorless, and honestly, I don't really think it's a good fit for the record. Like, I don't think it goes above and beyond a Silk Sonic song, and simultaneously, I don't even think it goes above a Gaga song, to be honest. And honestly, after the album is done, and with this being the final track, it comes more off as like a bonus track and doesn't really compare to anything that was a highlight on the album. And there's Love Bug, and topically likening this person's love to a drug, saying she needs a hit of the right stuff. And I don't really think anything is really groundbreaking here, and I don't really think anything sticks out in a good way. I think it sticks out more in a cliche way. And vocally on these tracks, I think she's really underselling her potential, to be honest. Because we know what she's capable of, and we've heard her hit some incredible, stellar vocal lines. But honestly, there are times where her vocals and her lyrics and her production aren't exactly a trio made in heaven. I mean, I know that's not really a thing, it's more of a match made in heaven, but we're just gonna go with that. But I can say though, even though we do get some ridiculous lines here, I at least have to take in the absurdity factor here, how ridiculous these bars could be sometimes. Like on KILLAH, I just cannot help but be entertained by these off-the-wall lyrics. And not only that, but the insane ringing funk guitar arpeggios are fantastic. They sound like they're straight out of the Prince catalog. And even the vocal layering, the eccentric vocal layering, really comes off as Prince. Very much as Prince. And the lyrics, man. Gonna make the curtains cream, believe it? It's just absolutely insane. And I feel these are the moments here where Gaga really has a gratifying sense of absurdity. And I think she absolutely kills it with the quirk, with the bass line. And she absolutely kills it with the quirk, with the bass line, how warbly it sounds at times. So you could definitely hear the Trent influences, but also you could definitely hear the Devo influence at the end as well. Like, as soon as I heard the sped up cycling synth line here near the end, I was like, yes, that is Devo. Gaga is a Devo fan. There's a song, Abracadabra, which has the most insane Death Gripsian hook I think Gaga has ever done. So it's like Death Grips meets disco meets dance pop. And for a majority of these tracks too, I definitely feel not only a dance to them, a groove to them, but also some horror themes too. Like, she definitely goes very like Trent Reznor, Michael Jackson, Prince on a lot of these tracks. Even some Depeche Mode too. And there's something horror themed here within the lyrics about one about to meet their most inevitable fate. Where you're getting lyrics like the poem said by the lady in red. You hear the last few words of your life. Like, it's so ominous, but yet it's very groovy at the same time. You're definitely getting a very industrial touch to it. You're definitely getting kick-ass sequence drums and synths. You're getting growling bass. Hell yeah! And you're also getting this expanded, demented hook like Death Grips, like abracadabra. And the robotic backing vocals are great too. In Garden of Eden, we get these warped, buzzing synth chords that are hit with these very bright, beautiful vocals, backing vocals, choral vocals. That leads into some very glossy, but yet very snappy production. And in a way, it honestly calls back to her old stuff, but some subtle changes to it. But on this track, we get bubbly bass that just growls. We also have drony synth bits. Like, it's so Gaga, but the distortion on the chords and the drones just have like this collision, like this Gaga 9 Inch Nail collision. So there are elements of the darkness that remind me of 9 Inch Nails, but also the hook kind of reminds me of Nelly Furtado, Promiscuous Girl. So we're definitely getting a bright contrast here. And Lady Gaga's vocals just have this absolutely beautiful melody to them. Along with these cheerleader-like stuttering chants, I'll take you to the Garden of Eden. And we gotta talk about ZOMBIEBOY, which is a stellar, multifaceted, heartfelt tribute to the late Canadian fashion model Rick Genest. And not only that, but has also been in Lady Gaga's Born This Way video, some horror short films. So with his aura being pretty horror themed, I would say this is definitely a fitting tribute, as Lady Gaga brings horror, but yet accompaniment of really tight funk grooves and some spooky like refrains. It definitely does sound bright but yet dystopian at the same time. Not to mention the shouted, layered cheerleader vocals that are straight out of Gwen Stefani's Holla Back Girl, but I feel she adds a very unique twist to it. I also want to mention on ZOMBIEBOY how we're also getting the Rick James influence with the vibrato, and also with the disco influence. We're also getting Donna Summer too, and I couldn't forgive myself if I didn't point that out. Especially when she's accompanying these bright, sexy guitar licks with an absolutely stunning vocal breakdown that goes into hypnotic territory. And the song Perfect Celebrity is a retaliatory, no-holds-barred banger rager that has all variations of kick-ass aggression with a very large, explosive hook. And it does feel very digital, it feels ominous, you're definitely getting some sour piano keys here. But as soon as the hook hits, it just pays off into this very gratifying feel. Not that I, have anything against sour chords as is, no, but Lady Gaga really does give a lot of texture here. She really does bring a lot to the table within quite a handful of these tracks. Like, I just love how cold and electronic it feels. And as I mentioned before, you are getting 9 Inch Nails, so you're getting that industrial electropop hybrid. And honestly, she's just killing it on the hook, and she just sounds pissed the fuck off. To a point where she's just screaming her brains out. Everything is just coming together so cohesively. Like, it's so tight, it's perfect with a subtle amount of variation. And the anthemic vocal melodies and the layering just makes her voice just sound so huge. And we're also getting the very bouncy, watery synth chords at the end that definitely come off very Depeche Mode. And speaking of Depeche Mode, we gotta talk about How Bad Do You Want Me? Which sounds like the producers of Depeche Mode just walked in and said, all right, Jack, we got it from here. All right, Taylor, let's hit it. Yes, it really sounds like what should have been on Taylor Swift's Midnights, because this thing has just so much personality, it has so much punch to it, but yet it sounds Depeche Modian at the same time, but Swiftian at the same time when it comes to the melodies, when it comes to the hook. Like, we're getting that futuristic, watery synth bass, sequenced drums, electric guitar riffs. It feels so futuristically dreamy, so beautiful, so powerful, and the hook is insanely catchy. How bad do you want me? How bad do you want me? Yeah, I can't sing it, I know, but goddamn, it's just a stellar fucking hook. And the whoops aren't normally my cup of tea, but damned if they're not working in tandem with the enchanting vocals here. Like, I feel like Gaga has found a way to keep the eccentricity, but also keep the hook engaging as well, keep the music interesting as well. Like, the hooks burst, production pops, and songwriting-wise, her hooks do stick out for good reason. Her lyrics do stick out for good reason. God, the hooks, the melodies, they're so instantaneous, and I love the rushed vocals on the track Shadow of a Man that definitely sound very Michael Jackson, that are accompanied by these bright, lush synth layers and guitar bits. Makes me just want to hit the dance floor of any party, some random ass party, and do the most insane, electrifying MJ ass dance moves known to man. However, there are some songs here that don't make me want to dance at all. In fact, I would say probably should have left that on the cutting room floor. Like songs like Disease. I mean, not a bad track, but definitely not one that hits me. Definitely not one that has a lot of punch to it. And this is the intro too. So as you're doing the introduction, as you're starting the album off as the opener, you don't want to start with something that's like forgettable or doesn't really have much bite to it, more punch to it, no body to it. But I also can't deny how thick and rigid the production sounds here. But I will say, though, I do give this album its credit for not really having a song that's out of place, just a song that's not really that interesting, like songs that I feel could have been left off due to how maybe repeating the same melody, maybe having these ballads that don't really go much of anywhere. And as far as ballads go, I think that's where this record falters, especially with Blade of Grass. Again, I don't really think she brings much lyrical depth here. It's very much vapid, on the nose. And I don't really think she brings anything climactic to the ending either. It's pretty repetitious. Although I do like the Springsteen-isms in her vocals. Like, I do like that husky, rambly twang she throws in there that's kind of Springsteen-esque. But honestly, I think she just could have worked with more of the tank here. But I think with the addition of piano and balladry, I think she nails it more on Vanish Into You. Even though that's not exactly a ballad, it's, I would say, more power ballad, honestly. I would say it has more energy to it. Like, I love the galloping chords, the guitar delay, and the way her vocals just bounce back and forth. With these soaring, gorgeous layers is just so heavenly to me. And honestly, I know I've taken a few shots at Die With A Smile. I just think it's too tame of a ballad to end on. Like, with this album being called Mayhem, you expect there to be continuous mayhem, aggression, and I get it too, there are some bright spots that are bangers, but a lot of these are like horror theme coded. They're horror theme coded, and I dig that. The eccentricity is definitely there. There's something wild, even though there is something beautiful and blissful here. But honestly, there are some ballads that are just kind of lackluster. And I think Die With A Smile is the icing on the blandest cake. But again, I can't deny the bangers here. I think Gaga does bring a very electrifying and passionate sound here. And you're getting synth pop, you're getting Tresor worship, Prince worship, MJ worship, Depeche Mode worship, but it's all done very tastefully and done very creatively. But there's a decent handful of tracks where the production is great, the writing's great. Gaga's eccentricity is certainly alive and well. And while the writing can be pretty hit or miss, and yes, some of the melodies here could come off repetitious, like they could start painting themselves into a corner, like you say to yourself, well, you know, I heard that melody already. But simultaneously, though, there are a lot of hooks that stick with me, and I would be lying to you if I thought they didn't. If I thought they didn't bang, because they do bang. It's just, I feel like there are tracks here where I'm like, okay, kind of heard that melody already. Okay, this ballad's not really picking up. It's not really up to par. But hey, overall, I think it's a decent album. I think it's a good album. And I honestly think it's better than Chromatica. And I think it ranks pretty high in the Gaga catalog, honestly. I just wish it didn't lose so much steam on the tail end of the record. But I'm feeling a 3.5 out of 5 on this record. I enjoyed it. But if you've given this a listen, what did you think? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Why? And that's it. Caspa, Got the Ghost, Lady Gaga, Mayhem. Till we meet again.